Yeah.
Right.
That was it.
That was it.
That was good.
Let's close the show now. That was kind of perfect.
Are you still practicing all the time?
All the
Yes.
time.
Not just 5 minutes before the podcast starts?
No.
During business meetings, too.
It's funny, Steven, video producer back there. Hey, Steven. He's
Hey,
setting up all the
Steven.
Facebook Live and the videos everywhere. Steven was working on a video yesterday, and I was literally being a micromanaging person over top of his shoulder, and then he was playing the ukulele like this. And I said, Steven, at your old job, did you ever have anybody over your shoulder playing ukulele? And he said no. So here we are, episode 26. Ralph, welcome.
Thank you.
Everybody's fired up at me, I think, right now.
No.
Is anybody going to quit on this right
No.
now?
No.
No. I sent everybody a heated text last night.
And realized then it was
Was
your
it?
mess up. And it wasn't heated. It was just like you were annoyed at us, but really it was your fault.
Did I say I was annoyed? I was not annoyed.
Come on, guys.
I was
Seriously. That's how the text message
That's
started.
That's what we're gonna do. I am, but I am a little off today, and the reason being is because Steven's a hard worker. But Steven decided to text me at 3:00 in the morning. So I'm laying in bed and I hear.
That's not on mute. Or
I hear the and I usually sleep through those things, but I heard a and then it was like, so I got up and I don't look at the things, but if it's at 3:00 in the morning, I just want to make sure that at least everybody I know is alive, right? And so I pick it up and it's Steven. I didn't even read what you said. I'm sorry. I think it's just you had some questions we were gonna do for the podcast, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to bed, and that didn't happen. And then I heard Gina roll over, and then I look over, and she does this, and it's bad, and I tell her it's bad all the time, which is she starts reading her phone in bed, and then I saw that happen. I was like, she's not going back to sleep. So I'd never do this. I tried and fought it for about an hour 15, and next thing I know, it's 4:15, and I have my alarm set for 5 to go for my run, and
might as well be up at that point.
I just got up at 4:15.
What were you doing up at 3:00? Seems like something I would do.
Burning the midnight oil.
Yeah, I wrote my questions last night and I
Yeah.
realized that it's
So thank you, Stephen, for getting us up all early.
I actually wondered why you had emailed me at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, well, this is a good thing. This is a good thing, which has been so last week, and this is going to go into a topic we weren't even going to talk about, which was turning really bad things into good things. So 2 weeks ago, it's a perfect story. Thanks, Megan. Good segue.
That's what I'm here for.
So 2 weeks ago, so we subscribe to the co-sleeping theory and methodology. I'm not saying it works. I'm not saying it's the best thing to do, but our daughter sleeps with us.
Has she always slept with you?
In addition to that, yes, our dogs sleep with us. There's 5 living, breathing animals in the bed at one time. It was 2 weeks last week, the beginning of last week. Did she give me a bit dirty look?
Watch
You're
what you
sitting in a good
say.
position.
Watch what you
At the
say.
beginning of last week, Gina wakes up at 4:00 and she does this. Oh my God, Jake, wake up! And again, it's like, what happened? Do I need to go? Do I need to get after it? What do I need to do right now? And I said, what's wrong? She said, Brody is pooping on me right now.
What?
Brody actually had, I guess, a stomach bug, and so she had some in her hand. She went and kind of threw it in the toilet and everything. And so I'm like, okay, at least that's done. And we turn the lights on, and there's literally poop all over the bed.
Oh my God, poor
Now,
dog.
Poor Brody.
How big is Brody?
Brody's 5 pounds.
5 pounds.
Oh yeah,
max.
I don't know how all this poop came out of a 5-pound
Yeah.
dog. So here's what happened: is get up, clean it up, and so at about 4:45, Gina lays back down with her. I'm up because I just threw stuff in the laundry, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay up. It's 4:45. Let me just make some coffee. So I made some coffee, stayed up, and then actually went for an early run. As I go into the car, because I stayed up and read some news and did some work. I go to get my car at 6:00, and I look, and coming up the door is Gina, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "Brody pooped in the bed again."
Oh my
I was
God.
like, "Oh my gosh!" And so we cleaned up Noah, cleaned up the bed, cleaned up everything. It was just up and going. She was like, "Go for your run." So the long story short of that was, I decided to take that terrible period of time, those terrible 2 hours, and say, I want to actually start waking up earlier. And so since that day, and even including the daylight savings day, I've been getting up at 5:00.
Wow.
And getting up at 5:00 and just to get some stuff done. So what I'll do, my new morning routine, we talked about it last week. My new morning routine is waking up at 5. I do my meditation, then I get some coffee in me. I can't do the reverse. It's really bad if you do the reverse because you can't do it. And then I'll do some work, read some news, ease myself into the day, and then I'll go for my run. Now it's still dark, at 6:30, so I aim for 6:30. So I'll go for my run at 6:30, and I turned my light on when I was doing it the other day. I don't know if that's good or bad because it's a glare. Anyways, so now I've turned that into my new morning routine simply by Brody pooping everywhere. And I love it. I actually love getting up early now. It's great. It's absolutely
Are
awesome.
you still waking up early too?
Yes. Today was a good day.
What is it?
Have you been doing your bike ride?
No, today I was working this morning.
Oh, that's because you work too much.
What time did you get up?
I was out of bed by 7:30.
That's good. That's good for Ralph. That's really
That's
good.
really
good for Ralph.
That's really good for Ralph.
Really good. Wait, hold on 1 second. What time are you falling asleep if you're waking up at 5?
Well, last night I went to bed at 9:30. The last when I sent you guys that scathing text message.
Seriously, guys.
Seriously, God.
It's like angry texting
So
in bed.
I think 9:30, and so I got up at 3. So I'm gonna be a little bit. What?
6 hours?
Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
I like 9. So no, normally I've been going to bed now like at 9 or 8:30. If I can get into bed at 8:30.
Oh my
See,
God.
that's what-
I can't.
that's
I'm not
what I
even
can't.
tired at 8:30.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would understand if you are always waking up at 5. I mean, at that point, you're getting 5, 6, 7, 7.5, 8 hours sleep.
Yeah.
It's not 9, but to go to bed at 8.
What time are you having dinner?
It's still light out, like in the peak of summer.
Yeah, especially right now. It really
5
is light out.
5:30. Yeah.
By the way,
That's my schedule.
By the
I
way,
was-
he's 34 years old.
I just don't like. I'm an old soul. Now again, I used to stay up till 3, 4. Just stay up till see the sunrise, but that's just I couldn't imagine that.
well,
now.
I mean, sunrise was always for special occasions. I did that too.
So here's how we're actually figured out what we're gonna give away today. We're gonna give away a Yeti cooler, one of those Yeti bags.
Wow.
Yeah.
The ones that float?
Sure.
Cool.
$300 value. 300. Here's what you have to do.
Wait until later on in the podcast.
No,
too early.
It's too early? Okay.
Yeah.
It's too early. We're going to tell you
Everybody's
what to
just
do.
going to stop listening right now.
You're right. Everybody on Facebook. All 3.
Woo!
162. Give it up, everybody. 162. Hang on a little bit. We're going to tell you how to win. I promise. So yesterday was a huge day in the news world. With this, you might see this 162 to go down as soon as we start talking about politics. So yesterday was obviously a huge day. Huge day, as one of the candidates says. Yes, and so I believe Donald Trump got even closer, right, Ralph?
Donald Trump took 5 states. 5 states except Ohio.
Which this was kind of a big deal because who ended up taking Ohio?
John Kasich.
Awesome.
I knew he was going to do it. I mean, outside of Rubio and Trump.
Most people
if
get
you-
their home state.
Yeah. And as I drive around and there's a bunch of Trump golf courses in southern Florida, I'm
Yeah.
starting to think that Trump's home state is Florida. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's New York and Florida because he's got
It's-
a couple of places here.
Yeah. I was at the Ralph Saul's helicopter
Yeah.
and then didn't realize that he has another golf course right around the corner from me.
Well, the funny thing was Ralph was watching his victory speech last week or 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, and it said Jupiter, Florida up at the top, and Ralph was like, I'm minutes from there right
I said
now.
I could shake his hand in 5
I could
minutes.
shake his hand. Yeah, so Trump distanced himself from the field, and Hillary actually did the same with Bernie.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, with Rubio's exit and Kasich's rise, it increases the probability that there's going to be a contested convention.
And for all the viewers out there, everywhere, and listeners, what is a contested convention, Ralph?
well, the
Third week.
Yes, exactly.
Ralph has an answer for this one, by the way.
A candidate needs to reach 1,237 delegates in order to be given the nomination. Now, if you have too many people running, and at the end of the primaries, you don't reach that number, there's a contested convention.
Yeah.
Where a bunch of people gather in a room, delegates, and you try and negotiate different delegates to try and get some type of coordination.
So
going.
basically, even though Trump would go in there with the lead, they necessarily wouldn't get the nod because he doesn't have the 1237.
Right.
So
My whole thing is that if there's a contested convention or brokered convention, they're going to give it to Trump. I mean, he's overwhelmingly winning. I mean, so that's why I don't really think it's going to be a big deal because you cannot
unless
defy
the GOP establishment wants to.
even with everything going on, Trump won 5 states yesterday.
So let me ask you this question:
It's
Did you
not
guys
gonna-
vote yesterday?
I can't vote. I'm registered independent.
Did you vote?
Hell yeah.
I had no clue. So here's what happened. I walked in to go vote because, again, I talk about it. We talk about it on the site and everything. And I went in to go vote right after my run, 7:30, nice, stinky in there. And I go up and put my card down. And the person says, there's nobody on your ballot. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, you're a registered NPA. I said, what what's an NPA? And he's
No
like,
party.
no party affiliation. I was like,
Yeah.
what? And he's like, well, which one do you think you were? And I said, registered Democrat. Just kind of like duck it.
Let me write it down on a piece of paper.
Can I just write this down? And then I was like, well, can I actually register as one right now? Can I do this? And
No.
he said, no. I was like, can I register as Republican? No. Okay. So I actually got turned around at the polls.
I know.
Turned around at the polls.
Your vote really mattered yesterday.
But we did a good post on GMO labeling, which talked about the different candidates and where they fell. So I felt that even though I did not cast my vote for a certain person, I felt that with putting out some more awareness of where the candidates stand on GMOs, I did my job. And so right now, and to be honest, if you guys are interested in terms of the GMOs, with the remaining candidates, which are Hillary, Trump, Cruz, and Kasich. We didn't actually cover Kasich. I don't know what he's saying. But only Trump has not really said anything about it. He doesn't stand in a position. And I actually got a tweet about this today.
In regards to GMOs?
In regards to GMOs, it said, where do you think Trump stands on the GMO side? I was like, well, I'm going to bet he eats really high quality food. So he probably eats organic if he has the option, maybe. But he just has no stance on it.
I doubt it.
You
I
don't
doubt
know.
he really cares.
I know. Maybe his Trump steaks are grass fed. You don't know.
Yeah, you should look at that. That's probably a good indication.
Yeah,
What
they're
were
actually.
the Trump
I think he labeled Bush Brothers steaks is what they were. But
really,
but he might have his own thing. But he hadn't said anything about it. Cruz has said. I think it was something. Do you remember that exact quote? It was basically that it's anti-science to believe that GMOs are harmful, etc. And so he's off our list. But Hillary Clinton, same thing. She takes a hard line. She takes a hard line with GMOs, meaning she's okay with them. And
so she's for labeling them.
No, she's not.
Okay.
However, Bernie Sanders he actually instituted GMO labeling in Vermont. It was one of the first states to ever do it. Yeah. And so there's where the candidates stand. So right now, Trump retweeted, actually, we found he retweeted a pro GMO labeling thing. But here's what he said. He retweeted this: too much Monsanto and the corn creates issues in the brain. He retweeted that, and then he later deleted it. So right now, Bernie definitely Bernie is pro GMO labeling, and we don't know, of course, with Trump, however he thinks it's going to help him. But I do think he might do something like that, which might bring him more to the center. But we don't know.
But one thing I did want to tell you is that Hillary had 71% of the Palm Beach County vote.
Did she really?
Yeah, 71%.
And it's funny because majority of Palm Beach County is actually Jewish, and Bernie Sanders is the Jewish candidate. That's really interesting. Yep. And it's funny we're talking about politics too, because we've been as we expanded into things outside of health, which a lot of people have asked for. I often get asked this question. I also get blasted this on social media and in my email, which is stick to food. And I was reading an article yesterday by a guy named Andrew Zimmern. Is it Zimmern?
Zimmern.
There's an N at the end. Are you familiar with him?
I interviewed him a few years ago.
Tell us about him, please.
Well, he's like a celebrity chef and television host. He hosts a bunch of shows on the Food Network and Travel Channel. One of them, the most famous one, is Bizarre Foods with Andrew Zimmern, where he goes all over the world and literally eats bugs and shit and things that are...
He eats shit. Okay.
He does. So a couple of years ago at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, I had the pleasure of interviewing him, and he's so nice, so jovial. He gave me one of the best interviews I've ever had with like a
Did he give you
celebrity.
a hug?
Yeah, he was so nice. Like we were at an event.
You could tell a lot about a person through a hug.
Yeah, he was
really
so
can.
friendly. He was so friendly. And I asked him a bunch of questions, about like what he loves to do and when he's not, eating bugs and shit, what he likes to eat and those sort of things. And so I do know him, and he's a very, very nice guy.
Awesome. So I was reading an article about him, and he was actually giving his take on the political outlook right now. And like the top comments, because of course you have to read some comments and stuff like that, is, stick to food, Andrew. And it's similar to what we get, which is, stick to food, stick to health. And it's absolutely insane for people to say stuff like that. Again, it's their free speech. They can say it. It's fine. But to tell somebody that they can't speak their mind, that they should just live in their own little bubble, their own little food world. It's like saying, all you know is food. You know nothing else, you asshole. Just stick to that, which is not true. He's a human being. I'm sure he has other opinions. The opinions could further humanity. They could not further humanity, but something can come from that. So the whole asinine statement of stick to food actually shows how idiotic most of those people are of saying, basically what they're saying is, I don't want you to have another opinion. I'm very closed-minded. I want either you agree with me, and if you don't, I don't want to hear it. And so, and I think that's especially true in politics, which is, I think there can be a lot of open discussion about it, right? In terms of where people stand and I had a really good discussion a couple months ago with a huge Trump supporter. There was no punches thrown. There was nothing. There was just a good quality conversation. But it's something about, for people that are really closed-minded, it just gets aggressive and emotional.
Wait, so this guy emailed you?
Oh, no. I have had other people email me, say, stick to food, asshole, and stick to health, asshole. And let me tell you, reading an email saying, calling me an asshole at like 5 o'clock in the morning, that really gives it a good start. No, it's quite all right. It's part of the game.
I think it cuts. Sorry for interrupting.
Go.
I was going to say, I think it cuts both ways though, because I think that some people probably feel as though when they initially maybe go to a website or go to a blog or something, if it's billing itself at first as being a healthy living, a healthy wellness website, right? Let's just say with the Alternative Daily, then perhaps I agree with you when they hear something that they don't agree with, they automatically assume, well, they're not experts anyways. Why are they talking outside of their field?
Right.
But then, of course, that's short-sighted, because that would be like expecting business or companies not to grow and to be involved in other things going on. But I personally have felt like there are certain, so for example, BuzzFeed, which is, everybody knows BuzzFeed. Yep. So BuzzFeed, is really becoming like a news outlet of some sort.
Yes.
And I love to read the comments on Facebook on BuzzFeed articles. It's my favorite thing ever. And
they say stick to listicles, assholes.
Right, exactly. Like people get
Tell me
really
the top 10 Disney princesses. That's all I want to know.
It's really funny because I first started following BuzzFeed on Facebook because I loved it, a year or so ago when it was so funny, like the best cat videos, 10 ways you grew up in Florida, all these stupid articles and lists, and they're really funny. And now here we are a year or so later, BuzzFeed writes about, the presidential elections. Yep. They talk about things happening exactly because they're a news outlet. But if you read the
stick to cat,
you'll
asshole.
see people that are like, stick to the Kardashians, or like, we don't care about what you have to say about Flint or whatever it is.
But that's the funny thing is because they obviously do, because they clicked on it and took the extra effort to comment.
Right. So if you ever read, like, it's always like the second comment there is somebody blasting the first person. Like, maybe you should read the article, or maybe you should just unfriend them, asshole.
Yeah. We talked about internet commenters last week, and they're they are the nastiest of breeds. So to that gentleman who said something to Andrew Zimmern and to the emails that I get, no, I'm not sticking to food, asshole.
You're the asshole.
We have a good range of people that want to talk about different things, whether it's about Clean Planet, whether it's about politics, or whether it's about running, or whether it's about being texted at 3 o'clock in the morning when you didn't want to wake up at that time. So Ralph, I want to ask you a question. Actually, I told you you'd go last on this one.
Yeah.
So we've been getting questions in, and so here's how you're gonna actually have to win. Here's how you're gonna win the Yeti. Ready? You have to tweet me. I'm trying this a little differently, right? Tweet me.
At Jake Surfs.
At Jake Surfs. JakeSurfs. Extra points if you Snapchat me.
Oh, God.
You automatically win one. I'm going to be like 50 coming in now. At Jake Surfs. And ask us a question that you want to hear on the podcast.
I just got a text from my sister Debbie. No one can hear you guys.
Oh. Tell Debbie to turn up the volume.
Debbie, turn up the volume.
We're going to keep rolling, though.
Yeah, go for it.
So
tweet us at Jake Surfs.
Jesus,
Ralph.
You can do it right here.
Tweet us at Jake Surfs.
Tweet us at Jake Surfs and ask us a question that you want us to answer here on the podcast and the live broadcast. And for those of you who don't know, what's that? Oh, I did this to you guys. You guys win. And we're actually going to be doing probably, I don't know if I told you guys this, we might do 1 or 2 more a week now, these podcasts.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're going to do them a little shorter now, 20 to 30 minute time frame. I'm going to answer some of your questions. We're going to talk about some topics we want to do, some quick hits things, and then
people can send you questions about anything.
Anything. Ask me anything.
Crazy questions, health-related questions.
You asked me if I've ever been with a man. I've never.
I was really surprised at the answer.
But what do you mean by been with a man? I've never been with a man. I'm fine with those questions. Ask me anything you want. So one of the questions we got was, what is our biggest personal weakness? And I'll go first, so I'll give you time to think about it, okay?
I got one.
Ralph's like,
Oh, you do?
I do have one.
So go first.
Go first.
Sometimes I tend to drift in middle of conversations. And I caught myself twice during this podcast about thinking about something else. I was like, let me just stick on to the topic here.
So you have a hard time being present.
Yes. There's a million things going on in my head at any 1 second.
And I've talked to you about meditation. That can help with that.
Yes.
It's because he works too much.
So that's your biggest personal weakness, is that?
Yes, the biggest.
Can I list some of your other ones?
No, well, I have to approve them.
Aren't we trying to keep this to 20, 30
in.
minutes?
I'm kidding. Ralph is an excellent human being.
Thank you.
If that's your biggest personal weakness, that's awesome. Megan.
I'll take that one.
My biggest personal weakness is I tend to get very worked up about situations that are not really very important, and I have a tendency to lose my patience very quickly. I get really worked up if I'm stuck in traffic for a long time. I get really freaked out if I think I'm going to be late for something. When I went to Mexico for my birthday, my suitcase didn't arrive on the same flight as me.
Yeah.
And so I really was like having a hard time and it was on my birthday.
Yeah.
And I just landed in Mexico at like 10 o'clock in the morning and it was so beautiful. And I was really like struggling in the beginning of like, oh my God, where's my stuff? I'm not going to get my stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I've had to really work. And it's a current thing that I do work on and I have my whole life. I'm getting better at it. I mean, if you met me 10 years ago, we probably wouldn't all be sitting here. I have a hard time sometimes not like letting those things get the best of me because I have a tendency to like then show up at a place if I've been waiting in traffic and just be totally like pissed off. And with my suitcase, you know, like thankfully I have a boyfriend who is the total opposite of me. So he's like, don't worry, it will come. We're in Mexico. What can we do now? Let's just go enjoy the day. So I sometimes have a hard time like thinking of bigger picture and I get very short-sighted in like, oh my God, this is so terrible in the minute. And then like I sort of let that minute get fucked up.
Ah, interesting. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So next topic.
Do we beat
No.
that out?
So
Sorry.
Are we officially rated R?
Oh,
Are we
sorry.
no, it's quite all right.
No, I
It'll be
can't
fine.
say.
Hit the delay button. Hit the delay button. No, it's fine. It's quite
The
all right.
only time I don't curse is on this podcast.
Now, do you find yourself when you're like just on vacation, or is it like in everyday life, or?
Oh, it's like less when I'm on vacation. It's more everyday
is there any
life.
specific trigger? Is there?
I think it's mostly any sort of waiting that I have to do, or if I worry about the fact that other people might be waiting on my behalf.
Yeah.
Like you said, be here at 10. I'm texting you at 10:02. Like I'm stuck at the bridge. I'll be there soon. Because I like start to worry. I hate the idea of people waiting on me because I hate when people are late and I'm waiting on them. I think it's really rude. I'm not looking at you when
No,
I'm
it's
saying
okay.
that.
It's one of my weaknesses. Is I'm late all the time.
So like I have a hard time sometimes not letting that get the best of me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a list. I am abused. I'm terribly late all the time. These all boil down to one thing, which is I'm a very selfish human being.
Wow.
Yeah, I told you I'm cutting deep here.
Well, you're aware of it.
I'm aware of it. I have the tendency to turn any situation into about me, which I think there's a benefit to that too. That's how I always find kind of like the good in it. So when Brody pooped all over the bed, I was thinking, oh gosh, and I was like, oh well, I could probably benefit myself by waking up. But there are definitely times where we'll be in a conversation and I'll swing it back to myself. Which isn't exactly the most flattering thing to do.
That must be difficult in your personal relationship with your wife.
She never talks to me, so we're all good.
So if someone was to point out, Jake, you're being a little selfish right now, do you take that as a positive critique, or you're like, you a-hole?
Now we're saying a-hole after the first 10 minutes just because Steven yelled at me one time.
Well, it's hard to even point it out like in a conversation we're having with somebody, because I've talked to people too and they're like, oh my God, that person's really selfish, but I'm not going to say you're being really selfish right now, because
what's the alternative that's a little lighter?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, hey, you're being selfish is a really harsh way of putting it.
Hey, can you not make everything about you right now?
Yeah, that's not
There
bad.
you go. And you've probably said that before to somebody.
No, I've had people say that to me. Well, because not to make this about me with your weakness. But no. I think that sometimes, and maybe you're like this as a person. In fact, I can see that you are as well. Sometimes like when people are talking to me about an issue or coming to me, I like pride myself in trying to be understanding or level with somebody. And so sometimes I have a tendency to be like, oh my gosh, I completely understand what you mean. XYZ has happened to me as well.
Right.
I have people in my life, namely my sister is a perfect example of that sometimes she takes that almost as, okay, this isn't about you right now. This is about me.
Yeah. No, that's I get that too. Gina's even said it to me a couple of times, like, this isn't about you, this is about X, and it's kind of like, okay. But I have noticed it about certain people in certain situations where I will talk about, when I do talk about myself and people try and bring it back to them, like, no, this is my situation. I need to talk to you about that. So I recognize it for myself. So when I do try and tell people like that, it's an excellent way to put it. But yeah, I would say that's probably my biggest weakness.
I don't think you should be so hard on yourself, though, because you're an incredibly selfless person as well.
This was not a setup for that, by the way.
I know it wasn't, but I'm saying, like, the first thing you're saying when you're saying that you're selfish is I'm thinking about a couple of weeks ago when we were giving away the Berkey water filter, and the lady wrote in that she wanted to get one, but she didn't even want to keep it for herself. A teacher wrote in when we were giving away the Berkey water filters and wrote an email and was like, I want to get one, but I don't want to keep it in my house because I want to have it at my classroom because my kids don't have access to clean water. And Jake sent her 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And he didn't even want me to talk about it on the podcast because he sent me the email like, oh, FYI, look,
That's awesome.
Well, thank you. You did not have to bring that up.
It's true.
I prefer that you didn't bring that up, but I thank you for that. So we're going to move on to the next topic, last topic, which is, this is a good one. We were talking about this, this is one of Megan's questions. So one of your questions, which was, what is the worst thing you've ever done at work? And we're leading off with Ralph on this one because he didn't lead off.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you led off the last one.
Yeah, I did. Megan.
Go for it, Megan.
When I was in college, I was working, my sophomore year of college, I was working as a hostess. I worked all of my first jobs, part-time when I was younger. Since I was 16, I always worked in restaurants. I loved working in restaurants. I was always a hostess or, like a server. And I was a hostess at this really, really, really nice, amazing restaurant in Tallahassee where I went to school. Like very fancy. It was like the kind of place that you would go when your parents were in town taking you out to a fancy dinner or dates, or people from the Capitol would go there. And if you're ever in Tallahassee, go to this restaurant. It's called Cypress. And I was a hostess and I went to work really, really, really intoxicated. I had gone to a pool party that day and I went to work really messed up. And I was walking into the restaurant on the phone with my girlfriend like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, Dana, I can't believe I left you. I'm so drunk right now. How am I going to do this? And the head chef heard me like from somewhere else and didn't come up to me or anything. But the owner of the restaurant, who was my boss, she would run, the front of the house. She came up to me as I'm like putting the table organizations together, the reservations, writing everything down for the day. And she's like, and it was a really busy night. I could see I was having a hard time figuring out, oh my gosh, how are we going to move this person to here? It's going to be a really busy Friday night. And she came up to me and was like, hey, so you know what? We actually don't need you tonight. You can just go home. And I was like, no, what do you mean? We're so busy. Look at all these reservations. She's like, no, it's fine. Just go home. We'll talk about, when I plan the schedule, I'll call you for next week. So I'm like not even thinking anything about it. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I called Dana. I'm like, I'm on my way back. Here I come. Mama's coming home. And then they called me the next day and they're like, you're a liability. The fact that you
got fired?
Oh my God. She literally called me a liability and was like, the fact that you even got into a car, which I know is so stupid. The fact you even got into a car, you're not 21. You can't be at a restaurant. You're intoxicated, blah, blah, blah. We won't be needing you anymore.
Oh, man, that's not a way to live life, huh?
No. So that was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Damn them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good one. Ralph, top that one.
I was 19 at the time. I just want to put that out there. It was not recently.
Unreal.
I'm only not drunk when I'm here.
Right. You think there's coffee in here. There's actually not. What's yours?
Me. I'm not going to mention anything that I've done since I've been W-2 employee for the Alternative Daily.
You took a nap the other day. It's so funny. He got called on it because I met Ralph and his friend for dinner.
That's what I was going to bring up, actually.
Let me bring it up.
Right.
I met Ralph and his friend for dinner, and we were sitting there talking and everything, and it's one of Ralph's buddies from back at home. And so we're having lunch, and he didn't even, like, he wasn't trying to even do it maliciously. I was like, what'd you do today, Mike? He was like talking about different things. He's like, oh, and it's like, I also took a picture of Ralph today. Ralph was, napping on the couch. He showed me a picture, and there's Ralph just like literally in fetal position on the couch. Like
when I'm hungover for a work day, like it's bad.
So I start laughing.
So I'll take a lunch break on the couch.
I start laughing, and I'm like, oh my, I was like, wait, that was a work day today. And it kind of like, I could tell Ralph got so embarrassed by it. And it was fine, whatever. Ralph works literally, 80 hours a week. But it was just funny to see Ralph sitting there like doubled over, like fetal position on the couch. Oh,
He totally threw me under the bus. But I would say that generally if I'm hungover during the day, I'm not good. I'm just not good in general.
Don't be hungover. That's why I go to bed at 8:30 because nothing good happens after 9.
That's why Jake drinks 3 beers.
3 beers, no more, no less.
Nothing good happens after 9 o'clock. That's what he just said.
So was that the worst thing you've done?
I don't like doing that stuff on during work days. I hate myself on that one. But
don't do it.
Okay, there you go. Go to bed at 8:30.
So mine is actually it was my very first job that I had. So I was 15 at the time.
Well,
and
we're going back.
And I didn't want to. I never wanted to work for anybody else. I hated it. So I cut grass from like 12 to 14, or whatever. And it was one summer. My parents were like, you need to get a real job, see what the real world's like. And so to keep in mind, this is when, I know some of the older folks might laugh, but this is when minimum wage was I think like $3.75 actually.
What?
Yeah, $3.75. It was either $3.75 or $4.15, one of those. Okay.
I got paid $5 off the book, so you might.
Damn, I didn't. And so it was actually at Rita's Italian Ice. Have you ever heard of it? It's like the shaved ice, and they have custard and everything.
Shaved ice.
And I liked it for a little bit. It was fine. And it got like, would see your friends and everybody that would come up and get some, you can sneak them free ice or whatever. But I got really comfortable in that job. And so what happened was like it was a really slow day, and the Italian ice was good. They actually put like real fruit in there. I'm sure it's probably just really shitty and has a lot of artificial flavors and stuff in it. But they were like, we would cut fruit and put it in there. But I liked it so much, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna eat out of the bin. So I would literally eat out.
Ew.
Oh my God, you're horrible.
Ew.
And then I was like, oh, this is great. And so then
Brings up that Taco Bell.
I would and then the customer strings, the things you pull.
No, you wouldn't.
And do this. And my friend, who was manager at the time,
he told on me.
He was watching it, everything. We had a good time. And then like the next day, I was called in the manager's office, and she was like, I know that you're probably really unhappy here. And I was like, and she's like, I'm not firing you, but let's just kind of end it right now. And I said, okay. So I had to go home and tell my parents, and they're like, "Why would that happen?" I was like, I was really burned out, blah blah. And I was like, I might have eaten out of the ice cream things, or whatever. So I was actually never technically fired. We just came to a mutual decision that I should not come back. So.
I think what the moral of the story is, as Jake and I are explaining, don't ever eat anywhere where they employ teenagers.
Yeah,
because
right.
They're drunk and they're eating the food.
I was really good, for all the restaurants I worked at. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Ralph's a hell of a worker.
I didn't do any of that.
All right, so remember,
I've never gotten fired in my life.
If you want to win a Yeti cooler,
if you want to win a Yeti cooler, you have to go to Twitter and tweet Jake. His Twitter handle is @JakeSurfs, and submit a question that you want us to answer on the podcast next week.
And if you want to get extra points, you can see me on I'm good at Snapchat.
If you're on Snapchat.
I'm pretty good at Snapchat. I think I'm pretty good. It's Carney.Jake is on Snapchat. Are you on there yet? Oh, you are, but you don't.
I don't snap.
You guys, are you on there?
I'm trying.
Oh, you should do it. It's fun.
I don't think I should be on
Snapchat. And so where else can they find us, Megan?
You can find us online at thealternativedaily.com, our podcast stream on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on our website. And if you're on social media, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest.
Ralph, where can they find you? On your bike?
Bumble. On my bike.
Driving down the beach.
Yep.
I like it.
Bumble.
I was going to refer to Megan on that one. Megan, where am I?
You can find Ralph online. Make sure to swipe right, ladies.
And thank you to Steven, video producer. And we will see you guys all maybe later this week.
Yeah.
Or next week. We'll see.
Bye, guys.